Cancer. Alright guys, so immediately I was getting something about a do-over with you, Cancer, or needing to do something over, do it over, nostalgia, revisiting, a redo. Or you may be finding yourself doing something over again, or wanting to. Maybe you want a redo, a new start, a do-over. You want a do-over. Or someone wants this with you. Again, Cancer or Cancer cross-watcher, anyone who resonates with Cancer at this time. Someone's wanting a do-over. Okay. Now today we are interested in exploring the philosophers. If you guys are unfamiliar, this series we are looking over study of philosophers related to the zodiac through the School of Athens by Raphael Sanzio. So today, this is, if you haven't seen the introductory video, I suggest watching that to kind of preface what we're doing here. But I will, of course, relate it as we go. But this is basically, we are doing a deep dive into the School of Athens and relating it to Hermetic principles, Hermetic teachings, as well as the zodiac, and looking at the deeper significance in this particular fresco, painted by none other than Raphael Sanzio, here depicted here. Something about art, actually, I am getting for you already, Cancer. I feel like many of you are artists, or poets, or writers. Could have been philosophers yourselves, but you spend a lot of time revisiting and redoing relooking at your thoughts, or if it's not thoughts, it's memories, it's of places, of people. You spend a lot of time in nostalgia. That is a Cancer trait, so I don't want to just regulate you to that, but it is significant. I feel like someone's actually doing that, or you are. It's important. There's something you're revisiting because it relates to you as a whole. I'm also seeing you studying the works of others, Cancer. Specifically, I just did Gemini right before your reading, and Gemini was getting their thoughts together. Gemini was needing to. Gemini was forming the message, I feel like, but also, like, discovering the message is also what I feel the need to say here. Whereas, and you, I feel like Cancer, you are going to come along, or are coming along to interpret the message. Gemini is delivering the message. Cancer, you're receiving the message. You're interpreting the message, whatever that is. I still have Gemini's cards pulled here from the Da Vinci deck, including the magician, Da Vinci himself. And I feel like as I'm sitting here, I didn't even bother to put them away. I just felt like there's a message that's been left behind. Okay, that's it. There was a message left behind for you, Cancer. And I have a feeling you're going to receive it later. Could be for you now, of course. These messages are timeless. And again, to relate this to the broader picture here, right? This is a message encoded in time, much like the School of Athens itself, which is why we're here today. These are messages encoded in time. Because we know that these figures, everyone here, of course, the philosophers here is depicted in this fresco, did not live at the same time, but their messages have come forth to reach future generations. We know this through the study of art. So you're studying the art, Cancer. How do you do that? What are you encoding? We know that there's something you're uncovering, a message, really, I feel like just for yourself. We know that you're encoding. I feel drawn to talk about Hypatia and Raphael again in this particular reading because of the two figures depicted in this fresco. Many artisans at the time or just throughout the years have depicted themselves in their own works. We know this to be true. We've seen it in modern art as well as historical art. Raphael was no different. He depicted himself here. And he depicted himself looking out to the future. He also did it with Hypatia of Alexandria, who we see featured, depicted here. Both of these figures are symbolic and important. It's like Hypatia. One could say Hypatia was the messenger and Raphael was the receiver, or we could say that Raphael was the messenger. No, Hypatia would not be the receiver in this time because she gave the message. There's something about messages needing to reach people of a future generation. That's why, again, we're doing this series and why a deep dive into a fresco like this is so important for people. Because of all the images and people in this fresco, only these two are faced outwards towards the viewer, which is a nod to future generations, because anytime a figure is depicted looking at you, it is in the hope of the viewer uncovering some hidden message. Okay? Everyone else is looking at themselves or at each other or engaged in discussion. And again, all of these figures that are grouped together in different groups represent a school of thought that is coming forward. And also the positioning of these people, as I would have discussed in the intro, those who this would be considered the lower part of the fresco would be, if you think of this in a theatrical setting, the lower part of the fresco would depict the lower part of the stage, which we would call downstage. Downstage refers to the future because the figures are closer to the viewer. They're in detail. They're close. They're the closest figures to us, which means they're the youngest of the philosophers. They are the younger of the historical figures that we see here. Those farther in the background would be more ancient. They would be older, necessarily wiser. Maybe there's something to do with young teaching versus old teaching, or there's something to do with that, our teachings, respect of our elders, our parents. Do we respect our elders and our parents? Things of that nature. Before I get all, we'll come back to this in just a second, Cancer. So we already see there's a message forming. You're uncoding something that's just meant for you, Cancer, okay? I feel the need to tell you that. Before we do that, again, though, or dive into this, I pulled Soren Kierkegaard as the philosopher related to you. Now, he's not depicted here in this fresco. It's just a random philosopher that ties in with Cancer, but we're using philosophers from all times, right? To don't think we're just relegated to the school of Athens again. But so Soren Kierkegaard is your philosopher, and let's read a quote. Oops, hang on. Let's read. Sorry, guys. Technological difficulty, right? Technological difficulties. Okay. Let's read Soren. I have some quotes pulled up from here, and I'll show you who he was, first of all. Soren Kierkegaard. Okay, this is his likeness. This is who he was. Maybe some of you look like him, if I'm speaking to anyone. But the quotes we have here from we have life must be lived forwards, but it can only be understood backwards. I actually feel like that is pertinent quote for today. Life must be lived forwards, but it can only be understood backwards. In other words, our history is important. And if we're going to understand where we're going, we need to understand where we came from, in other words, okay? But we don't necessarily want to get trapped there, but it's important that we preserve history. Cancer, I feel like you're the receiver of some important knowledge or understanding or communication that maybe came from Gemini directly to you. And so there's some information, again, that you're receiving. And guys, think of this in your own personal lives. Maybe you're being given a secret of some kind. You hold the secrets of others very well, Cancer. I feel that. I feel that for you, actually. Maybe you've been given or entrusted with some very important information. What are you going to do with that information? How are you going to preserve that information? Maybe you've given information before. Maybe there's a secret coming out, right, about you. Maybe you're looking at how others are interpreting news about you. Maybe there's certain news you do want to be shared, some news you don't want to be shared. Whatever the case may be, you are receiving the message. We have anxiety is the dizziness of freedom. Once you label me, you negate me. And the tyrant dies and his rule is over. The martyr dies and his rule begins. There's something about Cancers, you want to seize the day, seize an opportunity, but there's something also about a fear of doing so. It's like if you feel like you don't take the opportunity now, if you don't make the decision now to go for it, or to go for the person, you could miss out on them forever. And I feel like, or a person, or a thing, or an opportunity, there's something about that. You feel like if I don't seize this now, if I don't go after this now, you could lose it forever. And maybe there's, speaking to some Cancers, there's maybe some form of indecision from the past, which is why we're looking at the message. We're trying to uncode the message again that was left for us. There was a message left for you, Cancer. And you're trying to, or maybe you're just rereading old text messages. You know what I mean? Something like that. Maybe you're going back into the past and you're trying to understand the messages that were left to you. Maybe there was no message left for you. I don't know why I felt the need to say that. Maybe, but it's an option, right? Maybe there were no messages. Maybe you're trying to understand why. Maybe there literally was no message, and that's also a message, right? Something to do with communication. Maybe you're not speaking to someone. Maybe someone's not speaking to you, or there's a no contact situation going on, right? And maybe there's a message you need to receive that you're not getting. There's something to do with that, right? There's all kinds of forms of communication trying to come in, but also some form of indecision and lack of movement forward. We have the truth, the Ace of Swords right behind that. We have the Two of Air and the Ace of Air, which we have 3 swords here now. And experience, justice. Ooh, could be communication from a Libra or some justice, some form. We're waiting for the justice to be communicated. We're waiting for the truth to be communicated. Or maybe someone's waiting for a communication from you. This is the information day. The Ace of Water from Da Vinci, a love offer. A message. I'm getting a poem, I'm getting letters, could even be a love letter. Be a love letter. Ooh. Okay, Cancer. Where are you taking us? Maybe you're trying to understand something about the past. That's just why you're studying it. Okay. If it were not for, again, Hypatia and Raphael, we would know nothing. We would know virtually nothing about any of these people, any of these philosophers, any of these great minds. So we're partially doing this series to pay homage to them, but also seeing how it ties into the greater mystery, the greater significance in our lives. I'm building on top of Gemini's reading, which I've never done before, but let's do it. I don't like to do that necessarily, but sometimes the only way forwards is to, have the past kind of speak to us as well. But we got to continue moving forward. So you may not, and there's a message there too. Maybe you don't have anything to build on from the past except the memory itself. It's just time to move forward. It's time to go. Whatever that looks like for you in your lives, guys. That looks like a memory that either you will cherish or someone will always cherish about you. But for whatever reason, it's just kind of preserved as a memory in time, much like this fresco. It's a work of art, right? It's a piece, it's a code, it's a message from the universe. Maybe lived for but a moment, but every moment is precious. Something about that. Ooh, Lady of Fire, Queen of Wands, Knight of Fire, oh dear, Knight of Wands, and the Nine of Water. Oh wow. Nine of Cups. Underlying, we have the Two of Earth polarity. Let's see. So, underlying, we have the Two of Earth. Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Spy is what I just got. Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Spy. I'm going to write that down. Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Spy. There's something about that. Why do I feel like that's who you are? I don't know why. We have Queen of Fire, Lady of Fire, the Knight of Fire, and the Nine of Cups. A wish fulfillment. Someone, Cancer, sees you heavily desirable, or this is you, or you're desiring someone heavily. You are literally their wish fulfillment. They have a lot of sexual energy towards you. It's literally that. But it feels like to me that there's one person working at it. One person doing all the work or the heavy lifting. The heavy lifting of one's own desires, it's kind of saying. Also, this person's been in and out of your life. They've been in and out of your life. Ooh, warning. Someone not consistent. I'm gonna go check that out. We'll be back. Stay tuned. Barking from dogs is great protection, right? Okay. Cancer, I want to say you're being perceived this way as the Knight, as the Lady of Fire. Someone's reminiscing about you heavily. Someone sees you as their personal wish fulfillment in every way. Okay? But also, I feel like there's also like it's the emotional energy, the memories, I feel like. This person's not making an action towards you, but they want to. It's a desire for them. Or again, just flip it, guys. This is you desiring someone in some way. There's something about this person's face, like a portrait. Maybe you have a painting or a drawing, literally a drawing of someone. Maybe you've been the subject of someone's fantasy, first of all. Deepest desire. Someone is going to take action toward you. They want to persist and they want a do-over. What's something about a lady of fire, a lady in red? That the message you're receiving about the lady in red? What about the lady in red? Show me. Could literally be a fire sign that you're attracted to. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Doesn't have to be. Heavy Sagittarius is here. Pisces, even. Too much. We'll see. We have Six of Earth, giving. Ooh. Seven of Water, illusion. Four of Earth, assembly, and death. So, we're reminiscing about a person, obviously. The person being reminisced about, feel the need, the person reminiscing about you, whoever you are. This person's looking at where they've deceived themselves in the past for not taking any action with you. This person, or they were under some sort of illusion, right? A false perception about you. They see you now. They see the truth in you. I think it was shown to them somehow. Or they see you. They see you now for who you really are. I feel the need to say. Before, I think their desire for you was driven very carnal. It was just very carnal. The desire for you, either for your beauty, because of your beauty, or even though you're extremely wise, you're extremely intelligent, but it's like it was only surface level that they could perceive it at first. But this person, I feel like, wants to show you how they truly see you now. They really see you. And I think they want to give to you the way you gave to them in that regard, Cancer. Mm-hmm. But I also think they know that it's too late to come to you in that way. If it's too late, it's like, it's not that it will never happen or it never could happen. It's just, it's like the moment is now has to be immortalized somehow in some expression of art. Maybe that you'll see. Maybe that you'll do. Maybe that you'll do yourself. Some immortal expression. Immortal beloved is what I just got. That's Beethoven. Music. Music is in the notes. It's in the music, Cancer. It's in the music. Someone thinks about you a lot, or you think about this person heavily when listening to music. And funny how Beethoven was deaf. Eventually he couldn't even hear the sound of his own music. They're worried about you're losing the memory of this person, of this encounter, of this thing. They don't want to lose the memory of you. They don't want your essence to be lost. They want to immortalize you. Somehow. Cancer, I think that's your message. I'm not going to make this too long. I hope there was a message here for you. Let me get one more card. One more card for Cancer. Advice, please, for Cancer. I'm going to read one card. We pulled the Five of Earth and the Eight of Water, which is Five of Pentacles, Eight of Cups. This person's in need of you, Cancer, and the Eight of Air. There's trapped feelings for moving on, trapped in a memory of what once was, the person or you who walked away with nothing. You took what you had with nothing. You left with nothing. Is that the message for Cancer? Yes. Ace of Air. Truth. Ace of Swords. That is the message. Five is receptive. I always think we have 6 and 5 here. 6 gives. 5 receives. But it receives from a place of need. Because why? Because it is in lack. It is in lack. So, you, coming out in the energy of a 5, are receiving. Again, you're the receptor of this message. You needed the message. There was something you needed to hear from this person or this situation, okay, that you walked away from. You had to. You want to know, is there a message for you? There is. There is. But only you will know what that is, okay? And that's kind of the point. It's personal. Cancer. I think that's all I'm gonna do. I hope there was a message in here for you. You know who you are. I love you guys so much, and I'll talk to you next time. Take care.